What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I am going to be telling you things that you want to know before you go into Diablo 2 Reimagined 2.0. Now, if you want literally every single patch note to be read to you, I have literally made 4 different videos spanning over, I think it's damn near close to 2 hours at this point, actually, that has every change that you could possibly want to know about Diablo 2 Reimagined 2.0. Now, if you just want kind of a Cliff Notes version, that's what this video is going to be. 100% disclosure, I was actually going to read every single patch note again, but I was like, bro, this is going to take way too long, and it's already super late at night. Right now, it is actually morning for me, and the game is going to be released today very soon. In fact, they said it should be up 7:30 Eastern time, which is less than, no, actually it's about 7 hours away right now. So by the time you were watching this, there is a good chance that either you have already installed it, or you're about to install it, or you're at work and you just want something to listen to while you're working, which is totally cool because I do that all the time. But I guess I just wanted to save my sanity, which is why instead of doing that video that's going to be super freaking long, I'm going to make this one instead. So these are the things that you need to know about before you start Diablo 2 Reimagined 2.0. Okay, so the first thing that you're really going to want to know is that you need to change the directory now to be reimagined as opposed to merged. If you don't know how to do that, either 1, go on the Discord, 2, guarantee someone made a YouTube video about that, or 3, hell, I might do it myself. So just wait about an hour or so, and there might be a video following this up, simply showing you guys how to install this mod. But one way or the other, it really isn't that hard. I'm sure you can figure it out. If you're playing this game on PC, you're probably part of the PC master race and you already know how to do that anyway, so I don't think I really need to go over that. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is your characters from 1.21 will not be able, unfortunately, to go into 2.0. So if you were hoping that they were going to find a way to make it so that you could port your characters over from the other version, unfortunately, that's not the case. And the reason being is this version of Diablo 2 Reimagined is actually based on an entirely different patch than it was previously. There is simply no way for them to transfer that over without breaking a bunch of things in the game. I am sorry if that upsets you or if that makes you want to not even play this version of Diablo 2 Reimagined, but the good news is that you don't have to play this version of D2RR because you can strictly stick to 1.21. A lot of people are probably going to be playing both versions concurrently, and you might be thinking, why the hell would anybody do that? Well, me personally, right, like I'm making videos and stuff, so sometimes I want to save some of my runes to make rune words, but then again, those won't be updated, so I'm gonna have to start all over. But there are other people out there who can simply not do that because they don't make YouTube videos or anything like that, and they're not a crazy like me when it comes to playing these kind of games, so you should be good. But yes, unfortunately, that's where it stands right now, and that's how it is going to stay. Now let's go into a bit of good news though. The website and the wiki are finally going to be updated. Now the wiki is going to have a new home, that being wiki.d2r-reimagined.com. I will leave a link in the description. Also, every single patch note that I have talked about and more, probably stuff we're going to touch on in this video as well, will be over there. So if you don't want to listen to my grating ass voice while you're at work for like the next 45 minutes or so, feel free to go over there because you can just read it all for yourself. The other good thing is they are starting to update it, and most of it should be functional and have the things that you want to see and look into literally right now. And if it isn't there right now, I'm sure they will get to it soon, which is great news because there's a lot of things on the website that have been messed up for quite a while. There was something known as string errors going on where it would literally say to do unimplemented function, and that's because rune words were changed or things were taken out of the game, and because they were taken out of the game, it wasn't actually translating over to the website. But luckily now, it does look like things are going to be updated and we don't have to worry about that. Praise the effing Lord, because I don't know about you, but I've ran into that a lot. So let's get into some rebalancing things. So the first thing to know is that health and damage has been increased across Nightmare and Hell, which will make things a little bit tougher for you guys. But it does seem like a lot of people seem to like really hard games which is why Path of Exile 2 is doing so well, by the way, which I do not really understand. I don't have the ability to collect SSI to play Path of Exile 2, but if that's what you're into, then you should be happy, because this game will be a lot harder going forward. Now, with this, the goal here is to make Nightmare Terror Zones a farming point, is what they were saying in the patch notes. So they want you to, instead of just straight up going into hell instantly, they want you to be farming the terror zones in Nightmare, which is very ambitious and I think is actually pretty cool, especially considering the fact that, let's be real, man, how many of us actually farm terror zones in any difficulty other than hell? I bet not many. Not many at all. I don't think I have literally ever done that, period. So I mean, I appreciate it. You know, I can see that they're trying to make things in the game have an actual purpose. Way better than Blizzard, to be fair, because Blizzard would never do this because they just don't care enough, right? Now, I will also be 100% real with you guys. I'm going straight to hell anyways, because I want to be able to get the best loot possible. But they have upped the level cap in Nightmare up to 80. So you will be able to find better items in Nightmare Terror Zones now. So it is viable. So I'm not going to sit here and say it is the worst idea ever. I can't even really say it is a bad idea, but the point is if you are going to do that, there is a good reason to do it now, because you can find better items in those terror zones than you could previously, giving you an actual reason to even consider doing that in the first place. So just be aware that you do not have to go straight into hell. If you get to hell and you feel like your character is super squishy and you are getting destroyed because of the new buffs and damage and yada yada and resistances and all that, which we'll touch base on that a little bit in a little bit here, but you no longer really have to worry about that, because you can start farming in Nightmare now. So have fun with that. Now also, the Uber bosses have had their resistances set to 75, whereas previously they were 99. So it should be a little bit easier for us to actually be able to kill these Ubers now. Although you have to kind of juxtapose that up against all the resistance changes that they've been making as well, and the carry weight system, which we'll get into. But I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, it sounds like it'll be a little easier, except for the fact that I won't be able to stack as much resistance as I used to be able to. But their resistances have been dropped. So hopefully it'll make it possible for other characters other than a smiter to be able to destroy Ubers, instead of like trying to finagle your build around to figure out how you're gonna get your Nova Sorceress to be able to kill the Ubers. You don't really have to worry about that per se anymore. Yes, they are still gonna regenerate life. Yes, I understand that is a big issue. I'm just saying, with lower resistances, there's at least a better chance of you actually being able to do this on whatever character it is that you're using, as opposed to having to make a build specifically for the Ubers. Now, another change that they are actually doing with this, which I do like, unless I am either misinformed or I just cannot read, it seems like they're going to be taking some of the terror zones that are in rotation actually out. So instead of there being craptastic terror zones like the Bloodmoor, who really cares about the Bloodmoor when it's a terror zone? I don't think I've ever actually tried to go into the Bloodmoor when it was a terror zone, unless I was so underleveled that I shouldn't have been in hell anyways. But if that was the case, I probably haven't beaten Bell yet, so I probably don't have access to terror zones. So maybe this is kind of a weird fourth wall breaking headcanon that I'm just kind of making up on the spot because I'm fucking nuts. But I'm just saying, it is nice to not have to worry about that anymore. It looks like there's specifically going to be terror zones we actually give a F about, as opposed to these terror zones that nobody ever really visits. You don't actually have to wait for a terror zone to be in rotation, if you did not know this. If you're on PC, all you have to do is change the time on your computer, and you can go to whatever terror zone you want and just do it over and over again. So you really don't even need to wait, and you don't need to mess with this anyway. So if you heard what I just said and you're like, oh cool, I don't have to go to the Bloodmoor anymore. Well, guess what? Say you want to farm Moo Farms. Sorry for the double farm there. I guess I'm farming content for cows on farm. God, dude, that was so fucking bad. Anyways, so say you want to do Moo Farms. All you got to do is change the time on your system, because this is single player, and it is not going to be multiplayer. And I'm sorry guys, but it is not going to be multiplayer anytime soon. The reason for that is there was a data breach. I have talked about this before, but I might as well throw it out again because inevitably I always get somebody who's new that's like, bro, why is this not multiplayer? Or is it multiplayer? Well, this is what's going on. There was a data breach with Blizzard, and they're afraid that if they use whatever patch it is that they were going to use, that if they open it up to the public, that you guys will have to worry about security breaches. But no, it is not going to be multiplayer. It does not look like that is coming anytime soon. And this is still strictly single player. So just so you know, you can totally finagle the system and actually fix it so that you can go to any terror zone you want at any time. So have fun. Hopefully that helps somebody out. Now, I didn't mention this earlier because this was in the beginning of the patch notes, but I guess I should just throw it out there, even though I have talked about this before. Level cap will now be 100 as opposed to 99. Also, when you are leveling, it is going to take you longer. They have lowered the experience gain, I think starting at level 80. So just be aware of that. It will take a commitment from you now to really hit level 100. And it's a little more prestigious now, I guess is what I would say. It kind of falls back in line with Diablo 2, OG Diablo 2, I should say. You can't just play for a weekend and hit level 100. You're going to need to make a commitment to really get to level 100. Now, another thing you guys are going to want to be aware of is that super uniques such as Bishi Bosh, Rakanishu, Countess, the Smith, the Summoner, Hephaestus, all those. I think that's it, actually. I might have just named every single one of them off the top of my head. But they have all received various buffs that will be a little bit stronger. Additionally to this, super uniques have been given guards. So like Blood Raven, the Smith, you know, we got Endario, Shank, Bale, Ijual, I assume. All of those. They now have people guarding them, so you won't be able to just like consistently go over there and farm. I guess you really could. I don't really see how that's going to stop my Nova Source from just teleporting in directly onto Endario and novaing her into the ground. If that, I don't even think that's a word, but I'm just going to use it. But be aware of that, especially if you do not have teleport, because from now on, you're going to have to fight through the lieutenants to get to those bosses. Another thing we would need to get into is the Countess. Now, people were calling for the Countess to have her rune drop table nerfed for the longest time. I personally am not one of those people. I liked the fact that I could find a Zod on the Countess, but I do understand why a lot of purists out there would not enjoy that. Well, you got your wish, guys. I hope you're happy because the table has been nerfed. So high runes are not going to be raining down from the sky on us anymore. Unfortunately, in my opinion. I know you might love that. Maybe it makes the game a little bit too easy, but in my opinion, part of the fun was actually being able to get a grief. Now, please don't come in the comments and say skill issue, because there's a difference, in my opinion, between a skill issue and not being able to sit back, collect SSI, and just play video games all day because I have to work, you know. But anyways, enough of my bitching. Let's go over those changes, shall we? So in normal, you used to be able to get a soul rune from the Countess. It has been dropped down to Rao. You used to be able to get an Ist rune from the Countess in Nightmare. That has been dropped down to Lum. In Hell, you used to be able to get a Zod rune, but now that has been dropped down to a Vex rune. So if you were like me and you were actually farming the Countess over and over again for ungodly amounts of hours just so you could find yourself a couple of Zod runes, well, tough crap. You can't do that anymore, and you should have never done that in the first place. What is wrong with you? You're supposed to want this game to be hella hard. Understood? This game needs to be hella hard. Okay? But now that drop table is nerfed and you should be happy. I'm not, but maybe you will be. Now the rune drop table has been extended to other super uniques, which is pretty cool. There is a caveat to that though, because not every single one of them is going to have the exact same drop table that the Countess would have had. For example, Blood Witch the Wild, right? It's like 2/3 of a chance. And with the Battle Maiden, it's 1/3 of a chance. And Hephaestus, it's Countess table +1, so that's a little bit better. Frozen Stein, whatever his name was, like he also has the Countess table now. But unfortunately, again in my opinion, In hell, cows. The drop rate for runes in hell has literally been cut in half. So if you used to go to the cows to try to find high runes, yes, you can still find them, but it's going to probably take you a minimum of double the amount of time that it used to. So you have fun with that, Ginger Ninja. I'm sure you'll love that. So we're gonna move on into general changes now. So one of the things that they changed, which I think is pretty cool, is going forward, new characters are just gonna spawn with the gem bag. You no longer have to make the gem bag. The recipe has been straight up removed. You will just have a gem bag the moment that you start the game, which is nice because for some reason, bro, like so many people were so confused on how to actually make the gem bag. Even though I made a freaking video about it that just literally broken down step by step on how to do it. I know not everybody watches my effing videos. Hardly anybody watches my videos if we're being real here. But yes, from now on, you will just spawn with the gem bag. Along the lines with that, the Infernal keychain, you can now just purchase it from a vendor. You don't have to make that anymore. And the recipe for that has also been removed. Just go get it from a vendor. They will also have your gem bag and keychain grabbers. So go to the vendor to get those. Really shouldn't be that difficult to understand. Another thing to know is that all stacked items have been renamed to stack, and there's now like a little X mark on it because I guess for some reason people didn't really get the plus sign thing on the runes. So a lot of the times they wouldn't be able to tell if they actually had a stack of runes or if it was a regular rune. So now they put an X on it. It should be way easier for you to identify it. Now let me ask you something. Are you sick and tired of stamina going down? Are you tired of having to walk after your stamina is depleted? Well, guess what? You no longer have to worry about that because stamina is now infinite. Literally infinite. There are no more stamina shrines. There's no more stamina regeneration effects on items. And stamina potions have been completely removed. You will just be able to consistently run forever. Now, I will say, I am pretty sure that does not mean that they changed it to where if you're running, your defense will be up. Because we all know if you play D2 at all, you have to walk to make it so that your defense is actually being used to factor in how much damage was being applied to you from the monsters. So you still will need to walk in those scenarios, but you will not have to worry about slowing down ever if you don't want to, like me, because I usually try to run through the game as fast as I can. Let's talk about a couple of changes that I really like. Extra Bone Spear has been added to wands and Necromancer heads as a random affix. Also, extra Holy Bolt has been added to scepters and Paladin shields as a random affix for magic. So we can now make a build where you can shoot out more than one Holy Bolt at a time. I am really looking forward to this, and I'm really hoping I can find a way to abuse the ever-living crap out of that without going into the internal files of the game and just making it so that I shoot out 20 Holy Bolts at once. I actually really like the Holy Bolt Paladin, and I think Holy Bolt is very, very underrated and very underutilized. So I am looking forward to this change, and I'm hoping to find a way to abuse the fuck out of that. So thank you guys for giving me the chance to abuse the fuck out of your game. I appreciate it. You can also do this with Bone Spears. So any of you necromancers out there that really wish that you could actually spam the bejesus out of Bone Spear and have more than one projectile, guess what? Diablo 2 Reimagined is your game. Now let's talk about Token of Absolution. So the Token of Absolution, obviously you know how it works. I'm not even gonna go into it. Anyways, Token of Absolution, man. You can now just buy them from a vendor, from a potion vendor in all acts. So no more recipe, it's been removed. And you can now get a Token of Absolution basically whenever you want to. So if you want to make different builds, go for it. You now have the ability to do that. And they have also now added something into the game known as a Rune Plier and a Jewel Plier. So I guess in my mind, I'm like seeing the Diablo 4 pair of pliers that you can use as the jeweler. It's kind of like that now. You can go to any blacksmith vendor in all acts and they will be able to do that for you. And the recipe has been removed. So if you want to take runes out of an item or jewels out of an item, you can now just go over to the blacksmith and get some of these pliers and use them to unsocket anything that you want. Now directly under this is something that I think is kind of strange. I guess it's cool because they added more of a description to it, but at the same time when I read this I'm kind of like I don't know if we really needed that. And that is, item property strings have been rewritten to be more descriptive. For example, better chance of getting magic items is now going to say things like chance items rolls as magic or better. So it's a little more descriptive for people. I guess my only issue with that is, and this is a nitpick, man, so like don't take this the wrong way, because who really cares? I don't think anyone really cares. In fact, I believe most people, if they're even watching this video still, are probably thinking to themselves, who cares, and just move on, dude. No one gives a fuck. And I get that, but I'm gonna mention it anyways. And that is that I think we all know what better chance of getting magic items means, right? Like, I don't really need someone to break that down for me, but I suppose there could be new players out there that don't really understand, so maybe this will help those guys out a little bit. But yeah, so just be aware of that. It does not mean that they got rid of the affix better chance of getting magic items. It just means it may have been rewritten into a way that is different from before. So you're really gonna have to read things to make sure that you're reading them correctly going forward. Now, I need to talk about something that I don't really know how I feel about this one, because this was a feature that I really liked about Diablo 2 Reimagined, because it really gave you the opportunity to create items that were far more powerful than they had any right being. And that's the old add item stat system, and all of its recipes have been scrapped. That is gone. You can no longer do that. Items can now only be upgraded a certain number of times per item slot, and it will not increase the level requirement. So that is cool. You don't need to go out looking for a bunch of Zod runes anymore to lower level requirements. But for me at least, it takes out a little bit of the fun with the crafting system for Diablo 2 Reimagined. Because part of the fun was finding ways to basically fuck the system and make yourself a rune word or even just a base item that was godly, because you happen to find enough Zod runes to lower the level requirement, and we can no longer do that. So anytime that you've ever seen, either it be in Discord or in someone's video or something like that, if you've ever seen someone that was playing Diablo 2 Reimagined and they had some crazy ass item that had like a whole freaking essay of affixes written under it, that is probably how they were able to make that item, but that's gone. So again, I don't really know how I feel about it. I'm sure it won't be that bad, but it does kind of suck in my opinion, because we can't do that. And don't take things away from us, right? That we'd like to do, which is what they kind of did. I don't know, I guess that's just my feeling on the matter. Shouldn't really matter, and people were abusing the ever-living crap out of that. And I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but that was really fun, man. So I'm kind of sad to see that go. I'm not gonna lie. Now, in my Goodbye Diablo 4, Hello Diablo 2 Reimagined video, we went over the orbs. The Orb of Assemblage, the Orb of Infusion, Orb of Shadows. So I do not think we need to go over that again. But for the sake of people who are just finding this because they're excited about playing D2RR and they just so happen to come across this video somewhere, I will skim over it as fast as I can. So Orb of Assemblage, and what this is going to do is upgrade a rare base item to a set item of the same type, which is cool because it's going to be a little easier now for us to farm set items. So if there's something specific that you really need, then you might as well go into a terror zone and try to find as many of these Orb of Assemblages as you can find, so that way you can actually get that set faster. Now, Orb of Infusion, what this is going to do is it will upgrade a white item to a rare item of the same type. Also, we are getting an Orb of Shadow, which will just upgrade an item to be ethereal. Whereas before we had to use a cube crafting recipe, it looks like we can just use Orb of Shadow now, which is pretty cool. And I think that'll be a lot easier for people who did not really want to get into the cube crafting side of Diablo 2. And now it just kind of makes it a straight up here's your thing, take this and go play. So for us to be getting these items that make it easier, I understand why they're doing it. It's because it makes it easier for players who don't really know what they're doing, or for newer players to do the things they want to do without having to go through all of this research to find all these different recipes and things like that, or just find it by trial and error, which would be really hard to do. So now it's going to be easier for those people, but I really enjoyed the crafting system. So I kind of wish they didn't take out as much as they seem to have taken out from the crafting system, because at least in my eyes, that is one thing that I really enjoyed. Now, I have not played the final release of 2.0 yet, so maybe I am jumping the gun a little bit. So I guess we will find out once I start playing. I mean, it is really convenient and it does make things easier, but I mean, to me, the crafting was half the fun of the game. So I guess we'll have to see what goes on there. Also, do be aware that a lot of the sprites for these orbs have been updated. So you're probably going to see a lot of things that you're going to kind of be like, what the hell is this? You know, just hover the mouse over it. You'll figure it out. You know, it won't be that hard to figure out. But there is new sprites, which is really cool, actually, for them to actually be adding their own sprites to Reimagined. And I can only imagine how cool that will be in the future as more things become added to the game. For example, like with Median XL, we used to be able to get like these arcane crystals. Always thought it was cool to find those. And the shrines were another thing I really enjoyed in that game too. So it's nice to be able to see that going on now, because you gotta remember, like, Diablo 2 Reimagined is still kind of in its infancy. And Diablo 2 Resurrected has not really been jailbroken yet for us to be able to go crazy with what we have, right? Now that will happen eventually, but I personally see this as a step towards that, because now we are going to have specific new sprites that are going to go along with these items, so that when you see it, you're going to think to yourself, oh wow, what is that? I need to check this out. And a lot of new players, maybe, you know, you had a friend who's playing Reimagined, you walked into his house, you're going to see something right in his inventory and you're going to be like, I ain't never found that. What the hell is that? Well, he'll be able to tell you, oh, this is Diablo 2 Reimagined. Maybe you should check it out. So that is pretty cool. Now, one thing I did want to touch on really quick here. This is about something else that's been replaced and something else that has been fixed, which this one in particular has been needing to be fixed for a long time. Literally mentioned it earlier in the video. And that is they are finally getting rid of the time-based attributes. All of those have now been changed to a flat value, which is freaking great. That is exactly what I was hoping that they were going to do, and it looks like that is what they did. So going forward, anytime you have, like, for example, the night rune word, right? Instead of it saying you get such and such percentage in the day and such at night, it will now be a flat value. So now we can actually rely on getting those affixes when we make that rune word. Whereas before it was kind of iffy because it wasn't working properly. So again, thank you for fixing that, and I freaking love it. And I guess we should move on. So let's go ahead and jump into some gem changes. There really isn't all that much, but some of these are a little important for you to know and to understand. So let's just break it down. Gems will no longer be dropping in variants. Going forward, everything will be a perfect gem. No more chipped, no more flawed, no more perfect. It's just going to be whatever the name of the gem is. So for example, say you had a perfect amethyst. That is now just going to be an amethyst. You got a perfect topaz. That'll now just be a topaz. So be aware of that. They will start dropping once you get to Act 2 in normal, but they will have a level 18 requirement to use. And the chances of you finding one have been increased a little bit in normal, just so that you can actually get it. Now, it has been decreased in Nightmare and Hell, so also be aware of that as well. Also with this, the gem bag, the credit system has been changed. Whereas before, I think it was like, what, 210 or something like that, 211? It is universal now, the credits for the gem bag, and the max storage of it is 65,000 credits. Understand that and always look at the amount of credits. I can't really see people actually storing 65,000 credits, but you might need to make another gem bag if you do. And along the lines with this, you no longer have to put them in individually. We saw this in the trailer. You just put it all into the cube, you hit transmute, and now every single gem that you put in to the cube will go into your gem bag instead of having to put everything in one by one. That's going to save us a lot of time. When it comes to crafting now, you will just put in a straight up gem. You're no longer going to have to use the different variations of the gem. And if they have not been updated so that you can just put in a gem, then they have just been straight up removed due to infrequent use. This also means that you will no longer find gem shrines because that was actually hard coded into the game, and they couldn't include the gem shrine without it possibly dropping some kind of variant of gem. So it's just been completely taken out. So no more gem shrines. Goodbye. So let's go and talk about some of the rune word changes. And for this one right here, I don't think I have actually gotten into this in any of my videos. So I am basically just going to read this list for you guys, because I think it'll just make it a little bit easier. So Enlightenment Reimagined is now Sir, plus elemental skill has been reduced to +2, and PDR has been reduced to 10%. The Grief rune word, the normal damage has been reduced. It is now 250 to 300. It was 340 to 400. So Grief rune word has been nerfed. Humility rune word, skill levels reduced. The Loyalty rune word, which I just made a video about, so that kind of sucks, because now, man, a lot of my videos are now outdated and I'm gonna have to change a bunch of them. So yay me, I got more work to do. Woohoo! So yeah, but Loyalty rune word, all res is reduced from 100 down to 40 to 50. Man, these guys are very, very adamant about making this game as hard as possible. Every single person in the Discord, that when they put out this poll being like, hey, should we make Diablo 2 Reimagined harder? Why do you hate us casual players, man? Why do you hate us players that actually work and cannot play this game for 100 hours a day? Why? I don't get it. Because I know there was so many people, right, in that Discord that were just bitching. Well, this is the result of it, and I hope you're happy, because now everything is getting nerfed, and it is all on you guys. I'm just saying, man. Yep, loyalty's been nerfed. I might as well just take that shit down. Shadow of Doubt rune word is now Isle Dull. Siren Song rune word is now Lem, Shell, Sir. Damn, they really upped that one, man. Wasn't it only 2 runes before, and now you need 2 Sir runes for it, and that's gonna be even harder to find. So that got nerfed as well, it seems. The War rune word is now Isle Hell Pull. I don't have an issue with that. That's fine. And hammers, clubs, maces now share the same rune word, and they will show up as mace on the website. So just know that if it says mace, yes, that means you can use it in a club or a hammer as well. Last Wish has been slightly reworked to allow 40 to 50 flat minimum and 80 to 100 flat maximum damage, and a slightly higher enhanced defense range of 350 to 400. All right, so now is the time when we get to talk about some new rune words that have been added. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. First one is going to be Winter Moon. For this, you will need a Shell rune, an rune, and a Thol rune. And this is going to do +1 to charm weight activate. That's the new charm weight system I was talking about earlier in the video, so you can basically just ignore that affix. You're going to get 15% chance to cast level 13 Blizzard on striking, 20% chance to cast level 17 Glacial Spike on striking, 20% increased attack speed, 206% enhanced damage, ignores target's defense, +1 to attack rating, adds 3 to 14 cold damage, -35 to enemy cold resistance. Holy crap. Dude, what the hell? I thought they were trying to make it harder, and then they put something like this in there. Holy effing shit, man. This thing is fucking great. Like, if I was a cold source, I'd probably use this. 25% chance to open wounds, +10 magic absorb, level 18 summon spirit wolf. All right, up next we have Crescent Moon, and this one is also for a sword. Now, again, ignore the charm weight. For this, you will need a Shell and Minotaur. Gonna give you 20% chance to cast level 17 Chain Lightning on striking, 15% chance to cast level 13 Static Field on striking, 20% increased attack speed, enhanced damage, ignores target's defense +1 to attack rating, -35 to enemy lightning resistance. So what did they just like make these swords to kind of make it a little bit easier for people to be able to survive in the game? Because it kind of feels like that, and I have a suspicion that most of these rune words are probably going to follow suit. So let's just scroll down to Full Moon here. This one does not have that, so let's go ahead and read what's on it. You get 20% chance to cast level 20 Blessed Hammer on striking, 15% chance to cast level 20 Bone Spear on striking, level 10 Sanctuary Aura when equipped, 20% increased attack speed. You get ignores target's defense, enhanced damage, 25% chance of open wounds, prevent monster heal, plus 11 magic absorb, level 18 summon Spirit Wolf. So that's pretty cool. Now we got Blood Moon. This you will need a Shell, an and a Ral, and for this you will be getting 15% chance to cast level 13 Meteor on striking, 20% chance to cast level 17 Fireball on striking, 20% increased attack speed, enhanced damage, ignores target's defense, adds fire damage, negative 35 to enemy fire resistance, holy shit, 25% chance of open wounds, plus 11 magic absorb, and level 18 summon Spirit Wolf. And last, for the rune words, we're gonna get Harvest Moon. This you need a Shell, an and a Tau. So I can see the similarities here in what they're trying to accomplish. And you're gonna get 20% chance to cast level 17 Poison Nova on striking. That is fucking sick. Oh man, I love this already. 15% chance to cast level 13 Corpse Explosion on striking. Holy crap. 20% increased attack speed. You get enhanced damage. Ignore target defense, plus 75 poison damage over 5 seconds. Negative 35 to enemy poison resistance. Bro, like, this is the new Death's Web. Like, I'm gonna use this if I do not have Death's Web, and it is so hard to find. I think I have found it once ever since I started playing Diablo, but damn, I think I will probably use this, at least until I can find a Death's Web, if I ever even find one. Also, we'll give you 25% chance of open wounds. That is great. 11 magic absorb, and level 18 summon Spirit Wolf. I really like these rune words, man. And I think this was a great addition and should help with all of this difficulty spike that they've been giving us. So for this one, I say 10 out of 10. Now, when it comes to unique items, there have been changes to a lot of unique items. I don't think I really need to go over every single change for every single unique here. But if that is something you are interested in, again, I will leave a link to these patch notes and you can go ahead and read those for yourself. Also, there have been some new sets that have been implemented into the game. I would give a shout out to Ben. This guy has been putting out a few videos actually, and he does stream on Twitch as far as I know, and he has been showing off these new set items. Again, I will leave a link in the description to his channel. He seems to be like a pretty cool dude, so give him a sub. If you go there because you watched this video, maybe just leave a comment saying, hey, BVM sent me. I'd very much appreciate that. But he does have footage of these new set items if you want to go and take a look at those as well. But just for people who are curious, these new set items are going to be Maddie's Paradox. This is a 5-piece set. And this was actually, so when you become a supporter, you can make certain things for the game. Or at least you can request, hey, can you make these 5 uniques? I think this guy used them all to make a set because he wanted a set name after him, I'm imagining. That's what makes the most sense to me, at least. So Maddie is somebody who is a supporter. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because if you want something in Diablo 2, right, something that maybe has your name on it, or if you just want to feel, right, like you're part of this game world, part of Sanctuary, right? If you become a supporter, you can go and request them to put certain items in the game for you, and you will, at least in terms of Diablo 2 Reimagined, be immortalized in the game and have something that is literally made for you. So if that sounds interesting to you, and if that actually excites you, then I definitely recommend going and becoming a supporter so that you could actually do that. And again, I will try to leave a link to their Discord. I think those invites time out after a while. So if you're watching this in the future, it might not work, and I apologize. But for anybody who is watching this relatively close to the release date of this video, you should be able to go in there and do that, and they can help you figure out exactly how to submit that. Also, we are getting another set called the Raven's Nest. This is also a 5-piece set, and this is also made for Ben, actually, the guy I was just talking about. And this is pretty cool. I think I watched the video for this one, actually. If I remember correctly, it's a Summon Druid set, which is really interesting to me because the Summon Druid, by the way, is going to be way better in this version of Diablo. So if you are a Druid fan, personally, I don't hate Druids, but I just absolutely love the Sorceress. So it's really not my cup of tea. But if it's something that you enjoy, then you should be very happy, because the Druid is about to be one of the best builds in Diablo 2. Mark my words, it's going to be great, so you should be stoked. And then we also have one more set, which is a 3-piece set. And this one was submitted from Lick Me I'm Melting, which is a fucking godlike name, bro. Wow. I like it, man. So yeah, there you go. So those are the new sets. Looks like we're getting 3 new sets, all of which were sets that were made for people who are contributing to the game. So again, if you want to do that, here's your chance, man. Also, just so you know, the charms have been given different affixes that can roll on them now. So although in my opinion it does suck that we're so limited to how many we can carry, the good news is that those charms have a chance to roll with affixes that normally would have never rolled on them, because they have now been added to the pool. So you are going to be finding charms that are just effing nuts with all kinds of weird affixes you've probably never seen before in Diablo 2. Now, they did also include in the new patch notes a bunch of changes that have happened with the characters. I don't need to touch on that because I already did. Go back to the final update that I did. It's in the channel. Scroll down a little bit. You should find it. And that video, if I remember correctly, has literally every single change that they have done. And I've already gone over that, so I'm not going to go over all that stuff again. But if it is something that you are concerned about, you can go and check that video out, and you should be able to find every single change that is going on with each specific class and their skills. And that is pretty much it for the things that you are going to need to know before you can play Diablo 2 Reimagined 2.0. I know some of this might have just simply been review for a lot of people, but like I said, I did already cover this stuff previously in other videos, so you can go back if you want like every little thing read to you. You can go back to those videos, or you can just hit the description, because I will leave the link to the new wiki, which is looking a lot better. I give them that. It looks great, and you can find specifically what you want. So for now, I guess I am going to end this video, because I have been recording for hella days now, and I'm excited to play this tomorrow. I will be streaming this tomorrow, so please feel free to stop by if you want to just chit chat or whatever, or just ask questions about the game. If you're confused about something, I will try to answer it the best that I can. And if I can't answer it, then I will bullshit you and pretend that I can answer it and hope that nobody notices. So until the next video, man, I will see you guys later, and I hope everybody has fun and have a great day. So late.